Hello traders, this is Igor from FX Igor YouTube channel. Today we'll talk about supply and demand zones and best indicator on TradingView. So if we go right now and type indicators here and choose from the indicators demand and supply zones by ICE 20XX, you will get one very good indicator which can be used in the trading. So the best thing with this indicator that you have really simple and realistic supply and demand zone. I don't like indicators when they have a lot of supply and demand zones and most of them are fake. This indicator shows perfectly aligned, very good zone. With violet color, you have a demand zone. With a yellow color, demand supply zone. And as you can see, they're really tight, and you can really spot it very easily. For British pound dollar, we have two supply zones here at 1.3780 level, which is the highest high, and then another at 1.37 zone. Demand zone is yesterday low. And what is the great thing is you can use various strategies to use this knowledge and TradingView. For example, yesterday this was a supply demand zone. This was the demand zone. This was the yesterday low. And what's happened today? As you can see perfect, this zone ends here at 1.3586. And today, the price hit to the pip this zone. Imagine, to the pip. And immediately react and started to go up. Which means that this indicates very good tech analysis and determination of the supply and demand zone. Of course, if you go to the larger time frame, you can see that the same level chart, which is beautiful. So on a 30-minute chart and 1 hour chart, we'll get same level, which means that this indicates very good. And you can apply that whenever you want. You can use it on the US dollar index if you want, like this. Very important supply zones, one demand zone. For example, you can use on the US dollar Japanese yen. Again, very well done zone. You can see that beautiful spots. Two important candles on the highest high and lowest low, and just mark that zone perfectly well to the pip. Then you can use in Bitcoin if you like to trade Bitcoin on crosses like Euro Aussie. Even when you have a range, you can clearly see the zones upside and downside, and you can plan trade. You can use an US dollar CAD. Of course, you can see there's so many lines. The zones are very well defined. And of course, you can use these zones even on index. The good thing, it will notice when you have a gap and when you have important reversal pattern, and it will mark supply and demand zone usually based on previous price reaction. Of course, always watch highest high and lowest levels. Fresh zone, you don't have any price levels left right. Of course, it's very hard for indices because the indices rising every single day and you don't have a lot of breakout levels. You can use for oil, and as you can see, the biggest problem here, you should avoid any zone, supply and demand zones that not are highest high and lowest low, because in that case you will get a lot of signal. I think that Euro dollar, British pound dollar gives the best results we'll talk about. The good thing is you can use this indicator on the stocks, for example, like Apple. You can see two demand zones here after the pullback 1 hour chart. Of course, when you trade stocks and indices, like I said, avoid when you have supply and demand zone, something in the middle. Try lowest low or highest high, catch the good level. If you want to find supply and demand zones on 30-minute chart to put a stop loss, there is another indicator that you can use. I will show you right away. So I'll remove this indicator and show you one indicator, especially 30-minute chart. Type demand flux. So supply and demand MTF flux chart, and go to the 30-minute time frame. As you can see, you will get some levels that are very interesting. For example, look, this is the British pound dollar. You can get very protective stop loss just using this. You can see how these zones sometimes a few pips below the lowest price, and this is very good, because when you enter a stop loss usually we hold, and that is very good, especially because the British pound dollar is volatile currency pair. Of course, the only problem here that you have sometimes too many zones and too many supply and demand zones in 30-minute chart. But if you are a scalper or a intraday session trader and you want to find a a little bit tight zones, this indicator very well. Find with green color, great stop loss for buy orders, and with the red color, great stop loss for the sell. For example, here you can make a sell order and put the stop loss. Here you use a stop loss and enter, for example, here a sell, and that will be very strategic. For example, if you believe that price of British pound dollar will go down, you can enter here and make a sell order and put the stop loss just here in 1.37. Make a swing trade up to the 1.355. However, because the ultimate market structure is bullish, this trade is a little bit dangerous for that, so I avoid to trade against the major trend. However, like I said, demand and supply zones can be determined and drawn in various ways. But this is two indicators that I use sometimes just to spot the right way if I miss sometime good supply demand. Please, if you have any question, ask. I wish you a great day and